Hello, welcome to Senior Moments. I'm Linda Brayman, here to remind you not to forget to watch us this summer. Grab a cold lemonade, put your feet up, relax, cool down, and enjoy Senior Moments. Senior Moments covers events and activities at senior centers in the Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti area, such as the Ann Arbor Senior Center, Turner Senior Resource Center, the Pittsfield Senior Center, and the Ann Arbor Community Center. Also, the show provides valuable information for senior citizens on such issues as health, wealth, finance, and entertainment. The program premieres on the last Sunday of the month with the reruns on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11 a.m. and 5 p.m., Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 5 p.m. on CTN Channel 19 for a month. And now, quickly get your drink, put your feet up, and enjoy the show.
Hello, my name is Rick Kress. I'm head of Kress Consulting, a company that consults with nonprofit organizations to help them with their governance and their philanthropy. Today we are having a special program called Leave a Legacy. Leave a Legacy is a voluntary organization that exists to provide education to potential donors about the nonprofit sector and to give some handles to make it easier for someone to consider a charitable gift to a nonprofit organization. Americans are world champions of giving. Nobody gives like Americans do. We are very generous people, whether it's hospitals, universities, colleges, schools, social service organizations, arts organizations, environmental. It's a long list. And here today I have two very special guests who are experts in this field, and they are going to help us understand how you as a donor might be able to give a charitable gift. Welcome. Let me first introduce Mara Kent. Mara is an attorney who specializes in estate planning, charitable giving, probate and trust law, and contract law. She is a member of the National Association of Charitable Gift Planners and the Plan Giving Roundtable of Southeast Michigan. She serves as the co-chair of the Washtenaw County Bar Association's Estate Planning and Probate section. That is a mouthful, Myra.
It is.
Is a member of the Washtenaw County Estate Planning Council and is a member of the Michigan State Bar's sections on the estate planning and probate law, elder law, and tax law. Mara is a graduate of University of Michigan and summa cum laude graduate of the University of Detroit School of Law, where she graduated second in her class. She has been a licensed attorney since 1996, is a law professor emeritus at Western Michigan's Cooley Law School, and currently practices in the Ann Arbor law firm of Nichols, Sachs, Slank, Sendelbach, Budewig, and Solomon. Welcome.
Thank you very much. That's a mouthful.
Wow. Very impressive. And equally impressive, we have Kris Kelly, a veteran of the field who has done so much good in charitable giving. Kris is the director of Major and Planned Giving with Schoolcraft College. Kris brings 30 years of trust and estate planning, and particularly in charitable gift planning, not only locally but nationally. He has been a member of the Plan Giving Roundtable for 20 years as a past president of our organization, and is currently one of the 3 Leave a Legacy chairs. We are in esteemed company today. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Glad to have you. We're going to have a conversation, so let me just start it with a question. Mara, can you give me your view on why charitable donations are important? And maybe ask it another way. Does giving really make a difference?
Absolutely, it makes a difference. I think charitable giving is important on 2 fronts, on the person who's the donor and the charity that's receiving. So let's talk first about the charity. most charities rely on donors to be able to survive. By their very existence, they have to meet certain IRS tax regulations, including not operating at a profit, not taking salary beyond certain IRS regulations, and because of that, they really need donors to be able to survive. On the donor side, it's absolutely something I think is probably one of the most rewarding parts of my practice, is being able to help clients give to charities that make them feel good.
Do you have to be rich to be a donor?
No way.
Yeah?
No, and I think
Okay.
that's one of the common misconceptions about charitable giving. You hear in the news a lot about these wonderful people who are donating millions
Right.
to institutions and organizations, but it really only takes a very small amount. I think we're starting to see that in some of these grassroots organizations, and realizing that many small donors can make a big difference. And on top of that, you can make a large impact even if you don't currently have a lot of money, through things like life insurance policies and IRAs and things like that we'll be talking about later.
So more than writing a check.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll learn more about that in a moment. Kris, can you give a couple of examples of how you've seen the impact of generosity in the communities where people live?
Well, I don't think anybody has picked up a newspaper or listened to the news on television that didn't hear about the enormous gift that was just given at graduation at Morehouse College. That was an amazing situation.
And for our viewers, can you give just a little detail on that?
Well, a gentleman gave a gift from his foundation that took care of all student debt for the 2019 graduates of Morehouse College. So it was really an amazing opportunity.
Wow.
And given the fact that we're now in a situation where student debt has crippled a number of people's careers and aspirations, this was a very generous gift. But I don't think we have to be a billionaire, as Mara said, to have an impact and to be able to really see our generosity in action. There's more comfortable gifts that are just as important to a nonprofit organization because they come from the heart. Every gift is a major gift.
It is. What a great point. For every donor writing a check or making a gift in some other way, it's major for them because they don't have to do that. So wonderful. Have the tax laws affected giving, Mara? We've heard a lot about the changes in the tax code and all of that. How do you see that?
The full impact we're not exactly sure of yet, because the taxes were just due last month, and so we're just going to be finding out the numbers. And there's some speculation that there may have been some changes in terms of donor giving, but as a brief summary, what has happened was the itemized deduction limit has been replaced by a standard deduction that's higher than it used to be, almost double what it used to be.
Right.
And so the expectation is that there will be significantly fewer people itemizing their deductions, which will impact those who previously donated to charities and liked to receive that itemized deduction. So it might change maybe the way or the timing in which the charities receive their money, but hopefully, or we're all hoping, that it won't significantly reduce the amount of charitable giving that has occurred in the past.
And I found that that's not the main reason people give.
Absolutely
The tax
not.
benefits are usually way down the list.
That's right. For most people, their decision to leave to a charity comes from their love for that charity or what that organization does. And I do believe there are a very few people where the tax benefits are very important, and those are the super wealthy. So they have a significant tax benefit from charitable giving, but for the vast majority of people, it's not so much because of the tax benefits that can occur, but it's because of what comes from their heart and the legacy that they'd like to leave.
Kris, I think in 2017 the number I saw was that Americans gave $410 billion. That's a lot of generosity. Why did they do that?
Well, as Mara was saying, American donors give because they want to have an impact on an organization or issue that is particularly important to them. I think when we're looking at charitable planning and charitable giving, a lot of times our donor is looking to send a message to the future, because
really?
charitable giving is very
Wait,
personal.
a message to the future.
Absolutely.
Explain that just a little bit, please.
Future members of their family, the community at large,
Oh, okay.
that this organization or this particular issue is extremely important, and they felt enough to leave a gift or to continue current giving. So the fact of the matter is, we are telling people what is important to us, our morals, our values, and our beliefs, and this is why we make charitable gifts in the first place. Very rarely does it have anything to do with the charitable income tax deduction.
The things you just said really encompass a definition of the word legacy. Leave a legacy as our organization, but Mara, how would you define what a legacy is in terms of charitable giving?
I think a legacy is something that's very personal to the donor. So as you mentioned in your opening remarks, there are all kinds of charities out there that people leave their money to,
Right.
but they choose that charity because it's something that means something to them, whether it's their alma mater in the Morehouse College scenario, or it's for their love of animals, or it's because a loved one was diagnosed with cancer. There are many different reasons why someone might want to leave a charitable donation to an organization, but when they do that, that's establishing a legacy on their part. It's establishing a foundation for what they stand for and what they believe in, and not only does it show I like this particular organization, or I trust that they'll do the right thing with their, with my money, but it also shows their family and friends and loved ones the kind of person that they are. That it's more than just about the immediate members of their family, but doing greater good.
Wow, what a powerful message, a message to the future. Yeah, I like that. A will is probably the most common way that you can leave assets to a charity. Can you explain briefly how that works?
Sure. So I might have a client come in and say, I've heard that I need to have a will. I don't know really what to do.
Oh, yeah.
A will is a way of setting forth to the state, when I die, this is how I want my assets to be distributed. Now, a will might not necessarily be the best way to leave a legacy, but it at least establishes this is where I want my money to go.
Okay.
I would encourage people to consult with an estate planning attorney and maybe their financial planner and their accountant, or if they don't have those, at least meet with a professional and talk about these things, because there are other avenues such as beneficiary designations on life insurance policies or IRAs, or even just a trust. A simple trust could be a way of setting forth your legacy without having to go through probate, which can be time-consuming and costly.
Now, you've mentioned several terms there. One of them is the IRA. Americans have a lot of IRAs. Kris, I also read in doing research that Americans have $8 trillion in individual retirement accounts.
Absolutely.
It sounds like there should be a charitable giving opportunity there. How does it work?
Well, I see a charitable giving opportunity everywhere, so maybe I should be cautious on how I answer
That's
this.
what makes you so wonderful.
But with our IRAs, many times if we let that go through the normal estate transfer process, the majority of that asset is taken up in taxes. So our loved ones may get 25 cents on a dollar, and that's not what the originator of that plan had in mind.
Wow.
By using a charitable vehicle, whether it's the total designation of that IRA or even a portion of it, we can help reduce some of those tax liabilities and send more of their estate to their loved ones as they have in mind. So it can be a great planning tool. It's all in the planning. It's sitting down and deciding what we want to see happen and putting it on paper so that there's no interpretation. It's exactly the way we design it.
It's intimidating for a lot of people to think about all of their finances, their assets, and the fact that they will pass one day. But I love the positive way you've said, leave a legacy and a message to the future. Were you going to say something?
I was just going to add with regard to the beneficiary designations, one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize until they come in and consult with a professional is there are many free avenues to leave a legacy, such as a beneficiary designation. And you don't have to leave your entire IRA to a charity. You can leave to your loved ones in percentages, you know, half to my son, half to my daughter, or a certain amount to the charity, 10% to the charity, and the rest split equally. All of that is free through beneficiary designations, but I would encourage you to just consult with someone to make sure you're filling it out properly. And there could be some tax consequences to leaving to trusts or things like that, so that's why it's worth probably talking to a professional, but there are many avenues where everyday people can do this for free.
Leaving a legacy, or good philanthropy, as I always say, is a team sport, especially if you want to do it correctly.
Good point.
And that's why one should always consult their legal advisor, their tax advisor, and their financial advisor, because you want to select the right assets that will give you maximum benefit and have maximum impact on the charitable organization or organizations that you are looking to benefit. So it's, again, all in the planning.
At the end of our program, I'm going to offer our audience a phone number that they can call if they simply need help getting started in the process. That's why our organization exists, and we can help you with a no pressure, no obligation, point you in the right direction kind of conversation. Kris, when we talk about values, which you've mentioned, how we use our money reflects our values, but donors also want value for their gifts. So how can you mix values and value?
Well, that again is why we want to sit down and plan while our donors are with us, and we can put on paper those instructions on how they want to have their impact or leave their legacy. So again, sitting down, talking to the charitable organizations about their mission, about facets of their mission that are particularly important to them as a donor, that's what brings value to the donor. They really can take a step back and look at what they've accomplished. It's a celebration of their life. It's a celebration of what they've accumulated and the power that they had to make something happen.
What a great way to put it, a celebration. Yeah. Do you find that people are celebrating when they come to make their plans, Mara, or do you help turn the conversation that way?
I think I'd say I probably help turn the conversation that way more. I don't know that too many people come into the estate planner already celebrating, but I do talk to them about the opportunity that they're given with managing what their assets are after they pass. And a lot of times they're not familiar with the different avenues that they can go about with charitable giving or just giving to their loved ones. And so I would say in my initial meeting with clients, maybe 80% of it is just education.
Wow.
You know, teaching them these are the different tools that you have at your, at your feet that you can choose from. These are the options that you have. You should never feel like you're in a rush to make these decisions, but you can do your research into the organizations that you like, find out a little bit about how they manage their money, and to gain the trust of yourself and the loved ones.
Well, like that 80% is, to begin with, is just exploring what you had to work with and where you want to see it go, and I like that.
You know, and part of the education is reminding people that this isn't about their mortality. This is about them having an impact on charitable organizations, but also their families or those individuals they call their heirs. Because a lot of times, this is where we can truly make sure that the life's lessons we've been trying to impart to our loved ones are really solidified.
I often say that donors all listen to the same radio station, WIIFM, which is What's in It for Me. That's a little jaundiced, but they certainly do want to know that they're being smart about what they're doing, and it sounds like both of you can help them do that. Can you think of an anecdote about someone who has made a charitable gift that you remember as particularly impactful or interesting to you?
I can. You want to go first?
Go first.
I remember very well, this gentleman came in. He had recently lost his wife, maybe like within the past year. They had no children, and he was feeling quite lonely. And just in talking with him, he was a very average person. He came in, he told me that he had worked for a major university in the city, and you know, he had employer matching with regard to his IRA, and he was a saver. He was, you know, always worried. His parents, you know, and he grew up sort of in that Depression era. So he's always worried about not having enough, and just saved. Lived very modestly based on how he was dressed and how he was relating, what his job was, and such. I had assumed that he had a relatively modest estate. He told me that he really didn't have anyone that he wanted to leave it to other than two charities. They were both very small, local charities, and he wanted to leave it all to him, or to them. And so when I asked him the total assets, he said, I think you know, if you include my house, which is worth about $150,000, and my retirement accounts, I think I'm at about $3 or $4 million.
Oh.
And I was taken aback.
Okay.
So, you know, you can live a very modest life and save for your future, and then be left in a situation where you have quite a bit left over and not really sure what to do, and make a huge impact on the
gratifying that he wanted to do that, because that helps the community where he lives.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what I thought was particularly interesting is he specifically wanted to leave to two local small charities, because he knew it would make a huge impact.
Oh, I imagine it really did.
Yeah.
Hey, Kris, do you have a story?
Boy, you know, it's always hard to pin one down, because people can be so generous and can really amaze you with what they want to accomplish. But I think one that will always be one of my favorites is a lady, and this was very early in my career. She was a secretary at a university and had worked there her whole life, had never married, really didn't have any family to speak of. And she wanted to know how she could leave a legacy. And we sat down and did some planning, and it turned out she did a charitable remainder trust that named the university that she was working at. And what I loved the most about it was her retirement assets and everything went into this trust for the university, became a fund, and what it did was set up the opportunity for office supplies across campus, because she said she knew what it was like to reach for a paperclip and not have one.
Wow.
And I think that's what's so amazing about charitable planning. We don't all want our name on the side of a building. We don't all feel that we need major recognition. What we're looking to do is have that impact, really feel that something that we did was important to someone.
Wow. I bet you have some fantastic stories. And for our viewers, you have a story too. And your story is about you and your life, your values, and the things that you care about. So we hope we have whet your appetite to find out more, and we would be glad to help you. But first, let me thank Mara Kent and Kris Kelly. Appreciate very much you helping educate and entertain us a little bit as well. It's been very helpful. If you would like to know more about what we've discussed today, there's an easy way to do so. You can go to our website or call our phone number. We will help you with a no pressure, no obligation, just point you in the right direction kind of conversation. That's why our chapter exists. The website is www.leavealegacy.southeastmichigan.org. And I'll say the phone number twice. It is 888-826-7900. Again, 888-826-7900. We would love to be able to help you a little bit. Well, that's our show. Thank you for tuning in. And we hope that you explore the dimensions of charitable giving that you may not have thought of yet. Thank you for making a difference.
Thank you for joining us on Senior Moments. I hope the show was just what you needed and you were able to cool off and relax during the presentation. Remember to join us next time and all the other next times. I'm Linda Brayman, hoping this month is a great one for you.